You know, we take it back a little bit, and we've talked about pro, we've talked about amateur, and I want everybody out there to be thinking about questions you got for David on this topic as we launch into his bread and butter, which is the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, which over the past decade has had hundreds of millions of dollars worth of economic impact on the region. So talk a little bit about being a host, how you've been able to bring these in, and what they do individually and then combined.
Well, what the organization does is it's an economic development organization, and sporting events are the tool. Primarily what the organization does is compete against other communities for the rights to host major events, NCAA championship events, Olympic sport championship events, gets very involved in the management of those events, and also we're getting in now to owning and operating some events. We have a historically black college classic football game that we're starting. It'll take place September 10th at Brown Stadium. The Sports Commission started, we own, and we weren't waiting for somebody to put out to bid. We're proactive and decided to create it. But these events, so in about 11 and a half years that the organization has been around, we've been directly responsible for, it's now I think 104 events is the total number, and the total economic impact of that is north of $310 million on the local economy. But there are certainly some that people know about, about U.S. figure skating championships, or the gravity games in Detroit that were here, or the international children's games, NCAA basketball, NCAA women's Final Four. But most of them are the U.S. jump rope world team trials, the U.S. taekwondo junior champion. Not sexy events, but the common denominator in every one of those is they bring people to town to spend their money. So it's while you hear about with the films, you hear about the Avengers, but there's also 3 or 4 other smaller films that you don't hear about, that just like there are smaller events that come in that you may not hear a lot about, but they cause a lot of spending in the community. I think we've really made our mark as an organization in terms of how, because we've actually by most measures become one of the top 3 or 4 sports commissions in the country. And there's a National Association of Sports Commissions, about 250 cities are members, so it's a very competitive industry. What we've really set the mark in this community is the ability to service these events better than anybody else in the country. That we have an infrastructure organizationally to run and manage the events. And it's interesting, you think about any one of these, when in most cases other people own these events. Think of all the NCAA championships, all the Olympic sports, and each one of the Olympic governing bodies and the events that they own. They're all businesses. At the end of the day, they are there to serve a purpose. One of those purposes is to make money, another is to bring people into their sport. And what we've really developed is the ability to tell people we can make your business better. We are always selling Cleveland and tremendous venues, the right times of the year, the right kind of weather. It's there's an awful lot to see and do here. I can't tell you the number of our events that utilize the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for an opening ceremony, a closing ceremony. But the sell is also, probably like a lot of your businesses, is how do you make your business better? It's not just come here because we have sunny skies. It's come here because we have an infrastructure where we can, other than the sports. It's funny, the one thing we're sports commission, one thing we don't do is run sports. We're not an expert at how to do a swim meet or how to run a judo meet or a track meet. That's what people involved in those sports. USA Track and Field, they're track and field people. Their goal is to get people to the Olympics, and they know track and field. They're not event people. We partner that with a staff that, we have 14 full-time people, and they do marketing, PR, hospitality, ticket sales, event management, everything that the customer would want. And so it really is no different than any other business. How do you try to find out what a customer's needs are and do what you can to make their business better? And thankfully it's gone very well.
Interesting.